Well, one of the things I wanted to do when I was a kid, I thought, what do I do? I wanted to be a priest when I was a little kid. Before I went to school, before I went to first grade, I thought, what do I do? I'll be a priest. I think that's what I usually was when I came to Earth. I was a priest. But the Catholic Church we didn't really see eye to eye. I had the audacity to ask questions. They don't like that. They don't want to talk theology with 6-year-olds. Hey, Robin, check it out. I'm not sure if you can see that. Should wear my glasses for this. Anyway. Yeah, I wanted to be a priest, and that, didn't work too well. If the head priest is screaming in your face, aren't you afraid of going to hell? I said, no. He says, well, you're going to go to hell. It's like, no, I'm not. I just laughed at him. I don't know. They didn't really see eye to eye. It was kind of tumultuous for 2 years till I got out of Catholic school. So I thought, well, what do I do now? I'm not going to be a priest. So I thought, well, I'll be a cop, I guess. That's kind of upholding the law. And so, well, I could kind of be a cop. And, I got challenged a lot, kids in school. First and second grade, the staff didn't like me. The priests and preachers and nuns, they didn't like me. The students didn't like me. I was target number one, so I had to learn to defend myself. At that time, my dad was, he's an old Irish brawler, so. And we had got a pair of boxing gloves when I was a little kid. That's something my dad took the interest in, basketball, and he boxed a little in the military. So we got a pair of boxing gloves, so I kind of took an interest. That time Muhammad Ali was fighting. Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton. His prize fighting was really big, so my dad was into it. So I studied. I learned I learned the techniques, and so I don't know. In 7 and 8, my dad worked at a penitentiary, and I just figured, if he went off the rails sometime, I was the one that was going to have to stop him. So I was contemplating. I was like 7, 8. Contemplating how best to subdue my dad, and I thought, well, because the first target, when he'd work all week, build up all this rage working at a penitentiary, and then he'd come home and, well, he'd go out on weekends and get blind, stinking drunk and let it all out. That was the purpose of getting drunk, to let off all that steam. He'd get in fights and stuff, but usually when he got home from being drunk, Mom was the first target. So I was contemplating how best to, if he went off the rails, contemplating best how to take care of him. I had the knife I thought would work best, and I put it in the silverware drawer on the far left side on top, so I could find it in the dark if I had to. So I never did have to stab him, but I had a plan in case I did, so. Anyway, during this time, all through my childhood, I kept getting night terrors. Wow, look at these guys. What's up, dudes? Just want to say hi. I don't have any food for. I wish I had some fries. They really dig French fries. Anyway. Yeah, so I grew up fast. And I kept getting night terrors, and I found out what night terrors are. They're to prepare you for something traumatic coming up. And I get night terrors all the time. After a while, it didn't really scare me. You know, you have swarms of like animals or bugs or something eating you. It's like, after a while, it didn't really scare me. It just kind of pissed me off because you knew it was going to be bad. It's like, okay, just go ahead and eat me. You know, you flail and swat stuff off until they swarm you. And like, whatever, just eat me. Get it over with. But anyway. So I thought, yeah, and then, you know, I got tested a lot. Kids in grade school, or public school's better, but there were always kids wanting to screw with me. This kid in 4th grade. One day we're in the playground, all those kids were just kind of standing around. This kid just punched me right in the side of the head. Everyone just kind of turns around and looks at him, and I asked him, why'd you do that? He goes, I don't know. He just didn't know. And the same kid, I just talked about this in a little another one, but I had 2 pencils, 4th grade. I had 2 pencils, one little stubby one that I used for everything, and a nice, long, sharp new one that I used for special stuff. I had them both set on my desk. This kid walks by and grabs my brand new pencil, just sharpened, and takes it. I told the teacher, hey, he just took my pencil. Teacher asked him, did you take his pencil? He goes, yes. And she goes, well, give it back. And he comes walking up to me, raises it above his hand, and he just tried. I had my arm on the table like this, and he tried to stab my arm. I just moved it away at the last second, and it actually hit my skin. I mean, another couple millimeters, I would have been spewing blood. Half an inch, he would have put it right through my forearm. So that's the kind of stuff I had to deal with, so I knew I had to defend myself. But after grade school, I got into junior high, and nobody, you know, I fought a couple kids, you know, a couple kids challenged me, or just got odd and weird. And, you know, it's always the last resort. Yeah, but, you know, I was forced into the last resort a few times. But after I got to junior high, things kind of, you know, people got a little mellower. But there was a couple things at 15. My brother and his wife, see, I know the date when that happened because of what happened after that. My brother and his wife, well, I'll do a video about that. But it was kind of a traumatic situation. And like the next weekend, I was at home. Me and Mom were at home. My dad it was a weekend. He's out getting drunk. And found out that one of my neighbors was drunk out of his mind. He'd got 4 DUIs, got his license revoked like shortly before this happened. He's drunk out of his mind and high on something, and he's threatening to kill his family with a knife. His pregnant wife and baby and kids. So I went over there with the baseball bat. Had a little talk. I didn't have to use the baseball bat other than when he tried to close the door on me, I shoved it in the door. And there's an uncomfortable silence for about 30 seconds, which is fine with me. I would have left it stuck in the door there all night till the cops got there. But he finally said, hey, take the bat out of the door. I said, well, are you going to you gonna relax and leave him alone because the cops are coming? He goes, yes. It's like, okay then. So there was that. And then later that summer, I was playing baseball for his summer league, but it was still the school team. Same people who played for the school played summer league. The only difference was that local kids could play. They didn't have to go to that school. And we had a game at our field at McNary, playing a team called Gresham. And there's a kid, you know, I played 1,000 games, basketball, baseball, football, and you name it. A lot of basketball pickup games and stuff. This is the first time I ever noticed someone from an opposing team before the game. They were taking infield practice. I just noticed this kid, second baseman for Gresham. So I was telling the other guys, what's with that guy? He looked like a kid we had in our team the year before. There's something with that guy. You guys see that guy? And my friends are kind of looking at me, what's wrong with Sean? But anyway, it was weird. I just kind of noticed him. He's like foreshadowing or something. And it was like the third or fourth inning, I hit a line drive up the middle. There's men on second and third. And the play here is to keep the guy from second from scoring. So as soon as I hit the ball, I was going to run to second on the throw, because the center fielder has to throw it in towards home. So right out of the batter's box, I just took off, ran as fast as I could. The center fielder overthrew the cutoff man, and I short hopped the catcher, and the catcher made a wild throw to second. It's like 12 feet over second base. And I'm running to second base, and I see the second baseman standing like 6 feet in front of the bag. I thought, what's he doing? And the throw was over the bag, like 12 feet, and he's 6 feet in front of the bag. And when I slide into second, he jumps up in the air and kicks out his left foot as my head's coming by. And I like dodged my head. I see his cleat of his goes right above my eye. He almost ripped off my face and my eye. So I slid into second, and it was a wild throw, so they corralled the throw. And standing there in the bag, I was going, threw some dirt at his back. I was going, hey, what are you doing? He almost took out my eye. He's like, F you, what are you going to do about it? And the ump was right there and like grabbed him, so this is nothing. I thought, what a jerk. Was ripped off my face on purpose. You know, there's no reason for him to be 6 feet in front of the bag and jump up in the air when it was 12 feet over his head and 6 feet behind him. So anyway, I thought, what a jerk. So some weeks later, we go to play at their field in Gresham. And same play. I think there's a man on second this time. Might not have been one on third, but it's about the same inning, and I hit another line drive up the middle. Same play, which was really weird. I was only hitting like 220 that year. You know, the thing was, the coach had me bunting all the time. That was my forte. They call that sacrifice bunting, suicide. He always had me bunting, so I was so good at it. He devised game strategies to utilize my bunting, my sacrificing skills. So anyway, I didn't get many at bats, and my swing was terrible, so I wasn't hitting. But like two of the best hits I got all season were against that team, and it was the same play, except this time I slid into second, and the center fielder nailed the cutoff man. I was out by 8 feet. I thought, oh great, that's great. The guy tags me out, second evil. I called him the demonic second baseman from Gresham. Tagged me out, so I thought, great. So I'm standing up. When I stand up, he pushes me in the back. Okay, it's game time. So I just took like 3 steps away and got some distance, to get some distance. I turned around, I said, "What's your problem?" And he goes, "F you!" Throws off his glove. He goes, "What are you gonna do about it?" And I just stood straight up, and when he's walking toward me, he said, "F you," and started walking toward me, I just locked eyes with him. I wanted to make sure his eyes were right on mine, so he didn't notice me moving my feet around. I moved my left foot forward and my right foot back a little and cocked it to the sideways a little, and I just stood there, and I made my right fist, made my right hand doing the fist, and hit it behind my hip and cocked my elbow a little. I was just waiting. He goes, "F you," throws off his glove. "F you, what are you going to do about it?" He comes walking up to me, and he's raising his hands. He goes, "What are you going to do about it?" And then I just turned and bam! Held him with a right hand right in the cheek. Bam! And his head flies back. It was pretty classic. "What are you going to do about it?" Bam! And I just drill him. And then every baseball fight I'd ever seen, and, both teams, it takes about 10 seconds for both teams to get out. And I could see his team was coming out. As soon as we squared up, his team was boiling out of the duck. I thought, well, I just have to hang around for like 10, 15 seconds until my team gets out here. My team never came out, because I found out later that as soon as we squared up, the umpire got in front of the dugout and held out his arms, said, "No one's coming out of this dugout." So anyway, after I punch him, I figured I just got to wait around for 10, 15 seconds. So I backed up real quick, and there's a guy on my right. He had both his arms raised, and he's coming at me, and so I just did this move. It's like some weird judo move that I never tried, never thought about. I just got balanced, got my arms up. I can't really show. And I balanced on my left leg and raised my right. And I just stood there, because if he got in range, I was going to stomp right through his thigh with my glades. And he stopped like, just out of range. I just stood there balancing on my left foot with my right leg raised and in defensive position, and he stopped right out of range. And then when I finally kicked, I was about that short, and I just held it there. It's like, "You want to keep coming?" So anyway, that stopped him, and I was backing up, and then a guy came from the left, and I threw a couple left jabs at him, and that kind of stopped him in his tracks. So I was looking behind me. I kept thinking, where's that center fielder? There's no one behind me. The whole team was in a semicircle around me. So the guy that I'd punched, I guess he recovered, and then he like grabbed me around the waist. And I thought, well, I don't want this guy hanging around my waist if I got 15 other guys around here. So I thought, well, I'll just throw him. So I grabbed the back of his uniform and tried to flip him on his back. I grabbed his right foot with my left foot, and as I was throwing him, and I almost got him. I got him like 3/4 over, and I underestimated how stretchy his uniform was. I got him like 2 feet off the ground. That's all I could lift, because I didn't have any more. His uniform stretched. So anyway, he ended up on top of me, and I thought, oh, this is great. So I, covered up, and as soon as I got down, there's the guy that tried to come at me from the right. He kicked me in the leg, and the other guy that was on the left, he like pulled off my helmet. So this guy was trying to punch me, but he was still out of it. I mean, he's like he didn't never hit me once. He was like hit me on the shoulders a couple times. What I did, I just stiff-armed him, put both of my hands right in his face and pushed straight up. And the guy that kicked me in the calf, I reared back, it almost got him right in the knee. The guy that pulled my helmet off, I reached for him, I almost got his head. Man, if I had grabbed his hair or ear or something, yeah, he's gonna have to come down with me and to get it back. But anyway, those two guys left. That just me and left the demonic second baseman on top of me. And I just stiffed on it. He couldn't hit me. I had longer arms than his, and he was still out of it. He's like swinging wild. He's like hit me on the shoulder a couple times. That's about it. So I thought, well, I'm just gonna start punching him. So I started punching with my right hand. Bam, 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 bam. I thought, well, I should use my left. So that's what I did. I'd hit him with my right, and I'd leave it there a second, and then I'd hit him with my left and leave it for a second. Right, left, right, left. So he couldn't, his head was bobbing up and down. He wasn't good. I just closed my eyes and turned my head, and I was just punching him. And all of a sudden he was gone. I thought, where did he go? You know, I had my eyes closed. I popped up and he was gone. And I had their whole team standing around me. And that pissed me off. I mean, where did he go? So I popped up and had them all stand around there. I said, come on, effers. I'm gonna kick the S out of every one of you. I kind of meant it. I was pissed off right then. I just looked around the row of people. Just looked them all in the eye. I said, anyone want to come? Anyone want a piece of this? Nobody was real interested. Pointed at the guy on the right, said, you kicked me in the calves. And I looked to the left at the guy that pulled off my helmet. You pulled off my helmet. I think I'll start with you. And then I just started walking towards him. And that's when got a teammate coming out. Trent. He came out and put both his shoulders. I thought, hey, I got a teammate, 2 on 15. This will be easy now. He came out to get me, put both hands on my shoulder and started pushing me towards the outfield. I discovered we were going the wrong way. I thought, we're going the wrong way. I swept his arms off, and that's when the coach got there and got me to bear hug and escorted me. Started escorting me off the field. One of the things he said, well, if you're going to get in a fight, you should win it. What fight did he just watch? Well, but anyway. But I found out after the game, you know, found out after the game that my good buddy Doug, Doug probably helped me save my sanity going through high school if I had known to talk to. But like Doug would always find out everything everything I didn't know. It seems like Doug knew. But he told me after the game that was like the third fight that kid had been in that season. It was like the 14th game. You know, that's a lot. I don't know how you'd get in that many fights. But one game he almost didn't get in a fight. He almost took out my eye. So that kid was a problem. I called him the demonic second baseman from Gresham, I guess. I don't know. Kid had a violence problem. But, yeah. Well, I think I'll stop this hill. This will be the first part. I have a long history of standing up for the law and to the law at times. But anyway, part 1. Part 2's, we'll see. Anyway, love you. Take care.